Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to 5 Reasons Not to Harm Your Loved Ones During Quarantine. Here we are, another week, another time working at home. Going natural today. Most people don't ever see these waves and curls, but it's kind of a time to be real and recognize what's good and what's bad, and try not to think about the bad. My big tip for today is that we should all be grateful. We just really, really need to be grateful. Grateful for those of us that are healthy, grateful for the love that we can give others, grateful for any assistance we can give to others, grateful for people who love us and who can make us smile during this time. So let's be grateful, be mindful, be thankful, and we're all going to get through this together. But as all of you know, Governor Whitmer has extended the stay in place order from the original date, which was April 13th, I believe, which is today, to May 1st, essentially. And her and Dr. Khaldun will be doing a press conference at 3:00 today as some updates. I'm assuming it's some reactions and maybe some explanations of some of the most strict provisions that were in that new executive order. The most, obviously, stay home is in there till May 1st. That's a big change. The other major change is that you can't travel between two of your own homes if one of them is in northern Michigan. She didn't define northern Michigan, but I know that people were upset about that, and I was thinking about it myself, and, I think I'm okay with it. Obviously, it's really controversial, but think about it. They don't have the medical accommodations in northern Michigan. They don't have big, giant research hospitals. They don't have, a ton of doctors and a ton of nurses and a ton of staff to take care of people. They have very limited ICU beds and supplies. And there aren't very many cases up there. So why would we from southeastern Michigan, want to go and contaminate them and be in a place where the medical availability for services and care just isn't there? It's there in a limited capacity, but I'm not comfortable with that. But anyway, so I think she's going to do some clarifying of that. I think she's going to do some clarification of the order, the content of the order that says that you can't have a landscaping company or any professional service providing lawn care or maintenance to your house, outside aesthetics, spring cleanup, things like that. Someone joked about it and said, yeah, but you closed that part of Home Depot, so I can't even buy a lawnmower to do it myself. So I think she's going to clarify that part too. And then I think she's also going to talk about the provision that, about the boating. The provision says right now that you can be on a boat in Michigan with your own family or people who live in your own residence. And this is my son, Justin. He just did his first day of school online. He's a senior. Yay, Just.
Oh, this is your...
It is.
Oh, do you want some input about my first day of school?
Sure. Let's talk to Justin for a minute. Okay.
I'll just stand right here.
Okay.
The background.
No, you don't have to.
Nope.
Here.
I don't want to sit down. I want to stand.
Okay. So, Just, how was your first day of online school?
It was good. I attended 2 meetings, and then the rest of it was just so that we have even days and odd days, as we usually do when we're in school. So today was an odd day, so I had stats, team sports, IB World Religions, and I had Biff class, which is the radio station. And today I did Khan Academy for stats. I did in team sports, I had to do an ab workout, and then I had to answer questions about basketball, which was just really easy. And then in Ivy religions, I had a lecture. My teacher just lectured me for an hour about Islam, and like I think 60 other kids showed up to the lecture as well. And then in BIF class, they gave us access to all of our editing software, that like Adobe Audition and the premium versions, so that we can do all of our work from home. So we're starting, and I'm gonna continue my podcast because that's my most individualistic thing. And my podcast is it was about sports in the past, but I had to switch what it was about due to the fact that my teachers thought that I should explore other avenues. So mine is now about music, and I talked to my teacher because my podcast usually has a guest to talk about music with me. So I was going to ask my sister and to do that with me at some point. So that is how my first day of school went.
And did you learn things today?
No. Oh, yeah, a little bit. I learned about Islam. I learned stuff about Islam, but I didn't really... Oh, and I learned how to distribute functions and stats.
Okay, so it was educational, first day back from spring break, and it was okay.
Yeah, but everything is still optional.
Well, not for you.
So nothing is graded, but you get points with the teachers so that when you tell them that you deserve an A, they give you an A.
So you hope. Okay, there you have it. There is Justin Satawa telling you about his first day of online school. As I mentioned earlier, he's a senior, and he was not all in for this online school thing, but he said he actually did learn some things about Islam today and something about functions and stats. So, okay, real school for sorta. Anyway, so back to what we were talking about before Justin joined us. The governor is going to speak today at 3, and I was just starting to talk about the boating uproar. So according to her latest directive, you can be on a boat with your family. Well, there's a couple problems there because most people's boats are still in storage and they're not considered essential, so they're not open, so you can't really get your boat. And secondly, there's just a big uproar of how that's going to be enforced, and you've already taken everything else away from us, and blah, 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 blah. So I think there's going to be some clarification about the voting section this afternoon as well. And of course, she'll talk about our current state of affairs here, which is we have, as of last night, we have 1,487 deaths. We have 24,638 confirmed cases. We're adding a new statistic. We have 433 people that have recovered. Isn't that cool? So, however, as I told you before, we have to be, there's so many different factors that affect these numbers and this data. And, we had 95 deaths yesterday in Michigan. We had 111 on Saturday. It's still taking between 3 and 5 days for tests to come back. 1 in 5 of these tests are red negative, and the person actually is positive. So these don't get all hung up on the numbers. The governor has obviously the best and most up to the moment information that is based on real science, and she's not guessing this as a lawyer. She's relying on the medical people and the World Health Organization, the CDC, Dr. Khaldun. So let's be a little patient, and we'll find out more about that at 3. As for other things, there are 26 confirmed cases in the Oakland County Jail. Previously had 1. So evidently, as we guessed long ago on the very first day. If you recall, our reason number 2 is very much because the police are essential workers and you don't want to be arrested because the situation in the jail is really, it's just a cesspool of germs. There's no other way to say it. It's really hard for them to quarantine. They certainly haven't tested every person that's come in. They don't know what's there. They don't know what's coming in. They don't know what's going out. There's employees going in and out, sheriff's deputies going in and out. There's doctors going in and out, psychologists, probation officers. So lawyers are coming in the lobby, but not further than that. And of course, there's, the most common arrests that are being made right now are for drunk driving and domestic violence. And our access to courts is pretty limited right now, regardless of the directive from the Supreme Court last week that said you really need to try to make this business as usual to the extent that you can. Business as usual has not really done much, except the essential functions that were in the executive order are now being handled exclusively by electronic means, mostly by Zoom. And so we are able to go to court through Zoom with our clients, also on Zoom to the extent that they can, where prior to that we were dealing with our clients were in the courtroom or the prosecutor was in the courtroom and we were on Zoom, and it's a big disconnect, and I think it really tramples on people's rights because you can't really communicate with your attorney during the hearing because of the technology. So we'll see that, where that goes, but courts are they're trying to move things along to the best that they can with the essential functions. And so the other thing that I wanted to talk about today, and I think someone did just send me a message or a question, so I'm going to have to figure out it says that I was sent a message, so I have to figure out how to find that. But the other thing I want to talk about is parenting time, and again, all custody and parenting time orders are being enforced. However, the governor has now recognized that children in foster care, regardless of the status of their reunification, are definitely not having in-person visits with their biological parents. They are instead doing video visits and FaceTime, Zoom, whatever. It's horrible. It's awful. I've told you about my 2-year-old case where the parents were really, really close to having him totally returned. He's 2 years old. He was with them for 5 or 7 days a week with overnights. And then when the first stay-at-home order came out, they yanked him, and the parents went from 5 days and 5 overnights to barely 5 minutes, because he's only 2, twice a day by video. And I don't know how anyone could think that that's in a child's best interest, especially one that young. So that fight continues, trying to get him home. Other stuff, they are doing a bit of, they're getting through their list of people who can be released from correctional facilities because of having a minimal amount of time left on their sentence, or more of a compassionate release, someone who's very vulnerable or someone who's ill. We don't really think about that there are people in the Michigan Department of Corrections who, are suffering from cancer and other diseases and require a lot of medical care and are very medically fragile or vulnerable, low or at-risk immune systems. And so that's just another thing going on. So that's pretty much what I got. I don't know if I can get to that question that was sent as a message, but I will, I'm probably gonna, unless someone wants to put a question in the comments, I'm gonna go and check that when I have enough time to be the non-techie that I am. And yes, JR, I'm sure you're laughing right now. And I will answer it for you guys tomorrow. I hope that you're all doing well, you're safe. I think that we'll have a lot more to talk about tomorrow, especially since online school has begun today for a lot of districts. And, as much as I encourage people to be, having IEPs and updating their IEPs with distance learning provisions and being creative, basically I'm getting a lot of emails asking for resources, and it doesn't seem like enough people have taken that seriously. But you have to. I can't enforce it if you didn't ask for it. And it's not up to the school to make the plan for you. You have to ask them to make the plan for you. So that's super important, and glad that I remembered to mention that. Other than that, be happy, be healthy, be grateful, stay home, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.